So let's go through this list real quick. The first one, I think we all know this, micromanagement, right? The second one is narcissism. So these are behaviors, toxic behaviors of leaders. The third one is abusive or aggressive behavior. And I've seen this quite a lot. I witnessed a man, a leader man, positional leader man, yelling at somebody reporting to him. Quite humiliating and also a bit raw. I will never forget the look on that man's face when they saw that I witnessed that exchange. And I'm just thinking how many sort of ego in a healthy psychological definition, identity, are broken down just in those micro exchanges every single day. And moving on to the next day, because you still have to work with this person, which is also just even more toxic. Number 4, lack of accountability, definitely, where there's a blame to others, that's pushed to others, refusing to acknowledge also your mistake. This is a big one that I've seen. A leader who points fingers at the team when the project flops, despite their poor guidance. But when the project wins, they are like the number one. They want to be the face of it. And it happens like sometimes in a way where you're just witnessing this and you can't believe it. You're like, what, did you just do that? And we just move on. We keep it moving, which is also quite interesting. Number 5, favoritism, showing preferential treatment to certain employees, often based on a personal bias rather than merit. And I remember I had this experience one time, and that was actually one of the most painful experiences of my life, where I had a new boss who happened to be white, who literally took my whole portfolio of work and gave it to another employee who happened to also be white, that he preferred to do the work. And then within the next 6 months, he then promoted her after that and started just like, shouting her praises the whole time. And I'm just looking at this thing because, it was in a phase of 6 months. If you're not paying attention, you might not even notice all of these things happen, because I feel like it's also quite subtle the way it happened. But when that happened to me, I felt like shit. I felt like I was nothing. And I won't even say the fact that I was even more qualified to do the job than that person when we look down on paper. That's not the point. The point was that it was an experience of favoritism that also limited my own career growth and literally was given to another person. And that happened so much out there. Number 6, manipulation. So using deceit, guilt, or certain cohesion to control or influence others. So there's a fine line between this one, because manipulation is about influence and leadership is about influence. But manipulation uses deceit, right? And things that are not that positive to get what you want. Like, for example, getting emails on a Friday night for something due on a Monday morning. This person is low-key telling you to work during the weekend.
Yes,
I think
absolutely.
that's quite manipulative.
Yeah.
Number 7, poor communication. So I think that also the case that you mentioned can touch on this too, where we withhold critical information. So it's not just that you're not talking or talking poorly, but you are withholding critical information for a particular reason. And then you're giving vague instructions or refusing to also listen to feedback.
Yeah.
I won't go into the detail of my experience with this, but I remember this quite vividly as well. And it was quite career changing for me. Number 8, creating a culture of fear. So ruling through intimidation. I had a CEO once say to me, very surprised and very concerned, "Why aren't you scared of me?" I just looked at him. Because the person like tall and I guess he's typical scared. And I don't know. I just looked at him and was like, "Why do you want me to be scared?" And he kind of said yes without saying yes. And I realized that he is used to that, even sort of maybe enjoys it, because he finds this quite interesting that I don't. And I was
Yeah.
so not aware of that because I removed myself from the system, the bigger system of corporates, and went through my own transformation. So when I'm coming into the corporate now again to consult, I'm coming in with a different mindset, a different heart set. I'm coming in healed. I'm coming in knowing that I can't change everything, but I want to just be myself, the most that I can be. So that's what he saw, right? That I'm acknowledging your position and everything, but human to human, we're just talking, right? And we forget that when there's power relations between people, creating a culture of fear sometimes. And then number 9, inconsistency, when there's erratic decision making. You also mentioned that in the case that you shared, and shifting of priorities without explanation and leaving the team confused. That's definitely a toxic behavior. And number 10, neglect, right? Ignoring the team's need, failing to provide support or resources, being emotionally unavailable. And that's another thing. The traditional leader would be like, why do you need emotions from me? Whereas now, when we look at the generations that are coming within the workplace, emotionality is a big thing. Emotional agility, emotional intelligence, all of that from your heart space is starting to become more and more important. And that's not being soft. That's giving you a different set of skill set to be able to be empathetic, to be able to listen better, and all of that. So these behaviors often then erode the trust, right? Lower morale, people leave, it stifles creativity and productivity at times because, if people are producing, it's really under a very strict way of working, but with no innovations, very little creativity there.